Hey, Evelyse.
Hi.
Thank you for agreeing to do this interview for Eruditas
Yeah.
about the last read you did, Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Can we just start by you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Evelyse. I am 9 years old. I am currently going into fourth grade, and I like a lot of sports, especially softball.
Nice. So when I recommended that you read the book Wonder, you were pretty hesitant about it. And I recommended it because your big sister Alicia, had read it and she raved about it when she did. I wanted you to read it, and I also want Eliana to read it. It's a really good book. I hadn't read it myself, but you were totally hesitant about reading it. That where was that hesitancy coming from?
I was a little hesitant at first because the books I usually read, they're more like they have a lot of pictures, graphic designs, and graphic design is just like a big difference from just straight up words. And the book I already read, Wonder, it just had words, but I usually read like books with graphic design. Like, for example, if any of you know Dork Diaries, it has a lot of pictures, or Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yes.
Those type of books are like Babysitter's Club. So like it was just a big difference, and I didn't know if I would feel comfortable at it at first.
So it seemed like it was a challenge.
Yeah, it was like a little challenge before, because I was like hesitant.
And how do you feel now that you read it?
It's a really good book. I'm happy that you told me about it because it's a really good book.
But how do you feel particularly about going from reading all these graphic books to reading this book that was all text, and you had to kind of imagine?
I feel great because I went from like something little to something even bigger, and it was a huge change and difference.
So it sounds like it gave you a feeling of accomplishment.
Yes.
We started reading this book together, and in part it was because you were so hesitant. I wanted to motivate you to read the book, so I offered to read it together with you. And also, it's nice to connect through a book. But then something happened that you started reading on your own, and you were just, you had no time. Like if I didn't have the time to read with you, you would tell me, I'm just going to read the book on my own. So what was it that happened? What changed?
It was just that it was a really good book. One of the parts were that usually you were busy a lot, so I kind of took it in my own hands. The second main reason is because once you read a really good book that you really like, you all of a sudden feel really connected to it, and it's kind of just like your own book, and you want to stay in that connection feeling, so you feel like it's a special book for you.
Wow. So it sounds like you developed a feeling of intimacy with the book. Super cool. So you developed this connection to the book, and even though I hadn't read the book, as I mentioned before, I felt connected to it, and that Alicia had read it, so the book has some sentimental value to me because Alicia's already 20, right? So this is one of her old books. I also felt connected to it because I know the general topic that it brings to surface, and it's an important topic to me as a mom, as a social worker. So there were all types of connections that I had to the book without even reading it. But I also kept on checking in with you since we had originally started reading this book together. I kept on saying, Evelyse, how's it going? And so forth. And you would also many times come to me and talk to me about the book kind of out of nowhere, right? And one of the things that you were glowing about, or that you seemed to find pretty cool, was the fact that the book offers several different perspectives. So it's not written in one voice. For example, every chapter is the voice of a different character. And you thought you were very excited about that. So can you just tell me why that was important to you, why you think the author did that, and what value it had to have those different voices?
It was cool because you got to see everyone's point of view and everyone's perspectives. Like, for example, in the book, Augie and his sister, he told the readers why he got picked up early, and then the next chapter was his sister's point of view, and we already knew why August was like mad. I mean, why he came home early, but the sister didn't know, so it was like we were like ahead of her, like a step ahead of her. So it was like really cool to be knowing what's happening, but some of the characters don't know yet, and then they find out later.
Right, and because they don't know, they have different feelings about what happened.
And then you could like, if you want to, you could like you could think about their feelings and maybe why they're feeling that way, because you already know like the actual reason.
But that's interesting because it allows you to develop some kind of empathy.
Yeah, empathy.
Right, because you get to see their point of view.
Yes.
Was there a perspective that you didn't hear, a voice that you didn't hear and you would have liked to hear from?
I would have definitely liked to hear from the parents, because like they're like the adults, and they kind of have, everyone could have a different like small or like big perspective, but since like they're the oldest, they have kind of like the biggest and the like most control. So like it would be exciting to see how they feel about August or the like story in general.
That's interesting, right? That then maybe they could have offered like a wider perspective.
Or also because August's sister didn't feel like she was
like the parents paid a lot of attention.
Yeah. So it would be like nice to see like if the parents wanted to spend more time with her, or they just wanted to keep focusing on August.
There's always more to know.
Yeah.
Evelyse, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this book so much. I'm curious, what is your big takeaway from the book? What's something that you learned? And what this is kind of, I know the answer to this question, but I wanted to ask you if you recommend it. But I kind of know the answer to that. So what's your big takeaway? What did you take from this book? And hey, what would you recommend it, even though I think I know the answer?
First of all, it's a big book about integrity. People might not know, but it's a lot about integrity, because there were like these are mostly 3 boys at the school that were bullying August, and one of them was like kind of like the, let's say, leader, and the other boys were his friends, but he got in trouble and he got caught, so he couldn't go to school anymore. But then when he went away, the 2 friends that were also kind of like following him, they started being nice to August. So I think it's just like integrity, because
what do you mean by that? Like,
you should be the same when someone's there or someone's not. You should always be the same and with your personality.
Facts. Lastly, shortly after you started reading the book, I don't know if I told you or you told me that there was a movie, Wonder, also. So again, I don't know if I told you or you told me we should see the movie, and I know you saw the movie. So how do you think the movie compares to the book? And also, do you have an opinion about whether you should read the book first, then watch the movie, or watch the movie first and then read the book?
I think either way is good, because I read the book first. I didn't finish reading the book, but I read most of the book first, and then I watched the movie, and then today I read the rest. But I think it's good to do it in between, because you get to see the differences, because in the movie there were some parts that in the book there were some parts that weren't in the movie, so it was like a difference. So like how I said, like you're ahead of the like character, you're kind of ahead of the movie because you know those little details.
Those minor details.
Yes.
So it allowed you to kind of fill in the gaps,
Yeah,
right?
fill in the gaps.
Cool. Thank you so much, Evelyse. I think you are going to kill 4th grade. I'm scared of you.
Thank you. Guys, we're leaving the lake, I guess. We're done with the interview.